My name is Kara, and a year ago I thought the worst thing that could ever happen to me had already happened. I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer at 33. My husband, Nate, and I had been married for 6 years at that point. We didn't have kids yet, but we had been trying. He was my rock, or so I thought. When I got my diagnosis, I remember crying in his arms and saying, "I don't want to die." And he just held me and whispered, "You're not going to. I've got you." The first few months were brutal. Surgery, chemotherapy, hair loss, nausea. There were days I didn't recognize myself in the mirror. I felt like my body had betrayed me. But I kept going, clinging to the love I thought was holding me up. At first, Nate was attentive. He drove me to appointments. He held my hand. He bought me books to read during infusions. But something changed about halfway through treatment. He started coming home later from work. He stopped asking how I was feeling. He acted irritated, like my illness was some inconvenience. And then, one night, he didn't come home at all. He said he'd fallen asleep at a coworker's place after drinks, that he didn't want to wake me. But the gut feeling I got? It stayed with me. Still, I fought for my life and tried not to let my mind spiral. When I was declared in remission, I cried tears of joy. My body was still fragile, but I had made it. I had beaten cancer, and I thought it meant we'd go back to normal. But 2 weeks later, Nate told me he wanted a divorce. He said, and I quote, "I just feel like we've grown apart." No explanation, no chance to work on it. Just done. I was shattered. I begged him to go to therapy with me. He refused, said he didn't want to waste more time, said he deserved to be happy. The next few months were a blur. I moved in with my sister temporarily. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat. I kept thinking, how could someone leave their wife right after she beats cancer? My friends told me he was trash, that I was better off, that maybe he couldn't handle the stress. I tried to believe them. I tried to tell myself it didn't matter why, that he was gone and I had to move on. But I never stopped wondering. Then, about a year later, I got my answer. I was at the pharmacy, picking up vitamins. I looked like a completely different woman. Short, curly hair coming back in, healthier weight, new clothes. I finally felt like I had myself back. As I waited in line, I heard a familiar voice behind me, laughing. I turned, and there was Nate, with a woman. She was tall, blonde, and visibly pregnant. Very pregnant. And Nate was rubbing her belly. He didn't see me, but I heard him say, "You sure you don't want to do one of those 3D ultrasounds? We can frame the picture next to the wedding photo." Wedding photo. My heart stopped. I stayed frozen until they walked away. Then I followed. Yes, I followed them. I needed answers. I wasn't going to sit with this mystery anymore. They walked to their car, my old car, the one Nate had insisted we sell during the divorce because we needed to split the assets evenly. I didn't even question it. I'd signed the paperwork like an idiot. I snapped a photo of the license plate. Then I left, hands shaking. That night, I did what I hadn't done in months. I went full digital detective. It wasn't hard. Her name was Rachel. She had a public baby registry, a wedding website, and even a TikTok. And that's where I found it. A video posted 8 months ago. She's in a white dress walking toward Nate, who's smiling like he won the lottery. The caption? "When you finally marry your soulmate, even if it took a few detours to get there." 8 months ago. That's 4 months after our divorce was finalized. But the comments? They told the real story. One friend wrote, "So glad you two are finally official after all these years. Y'all were meant to be." Another, "Can't believe you kept it quiet for so long. Love always wins." My vision blurred. I felt sick. They'd been together for years. And suddenly, so much made sense. The nights he came home late, the sudden coldness, the way he avoided touching me after chemo. He wasn't growing apart. He was already with someone else. And he didn't leave because he couldn't handle cancer. He left because he didn't want the inconvenience of a wife who wasn't fun anymore. He traded me in for a fresh start. I felt rage, pure, unfiltered rage, but also a kind of clarity. He wasn't worth one more second of grief. Still, I couldn't help myself. I took screenshots, the registry, the video, the comments. I printed them out and mailed them to his parents. Now, let me explain. His parents were always kind to me. They visited me in the hospital. His mom cried when I lost my hair. She called me her daughter. When we divorced, they said they didn't understand it either. That Nate had changed. I never told them the full story. So I did. I wrote a letter. Calm. Factual. No drama. I told them the timeline. I explained the overlap. I included the photo of the car, the video, the registry. I said, I just thought you deserved to know who your son really is. I didn't expect a response. But a month later, I got a letter back. Handwritten. From his mother. It said, Kara, I am so sorry. I had no idea. You were the best thing that ever happened to our son, and we will never forgive him for how he treated you. Please know you'll always be family to us. And congratulations on your recovery. Love, Linda. I cried. Not because I needed their validation, but because it finally felt like someone saw what I went through. It's been over a year now since that moment at the pharmacy. I've started dating again. Nothing serious, but it's nice to feel seen, to be touched gently, to laugh without fear. I also started volunteering at the cancer center where I got treatment. I talk to newly diagnosed women. I sit with them during chemo. I tell them the truth. That cancer doesn't just show you who you are. It shows you who everyone else is too. Sometimes I still see Nate pop up on social media. They post videos of their baby boy. He looks happy. But it's the curated kind of happy. The filtered kind. And I don't envy it. I don't miss him. Because now I know I didn't lose anything. He did. He lost a woman who loved him even when her body was falling apart. He lost someone who believed in him, trusted him, stood by him. And I lost a liar. That's not a loss. That's freedom. So if you're ever abandoned at your lowest, just remember, it's not always about you being too much. Sometimes it's about them being far too little. And trust me, what they leave behind, someone better will treasure.